And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here at BearcatJournal.com. You know the drill. Get to www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app. Something going on, right? Just iPhone for right now. If you have Android, it'll still work. But make sure you download the app, and they will bring it right to your front door, basically anywhere inside the 275 loop, or go down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner, and they will get you taken care of. All right. It's game week. Talk about talking.
We are talking about the talking.
I was there for most of the media scrum today, and then some on-field stuff with Keegan and myself afterwards. So, Aaron, I will let you take it away so we can talk about talking.
Satterfield gave me the most today.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Do you maybe get the sense that him and Narduzzi aren't too fond of each other?
I don't know that I quite got that sense. I think I got the sense that Satterfield doesn't like to lose, period. He doesn't like...
But who does? Nobody likes to lose, Aaron.
I understand, but I think that he takes it personally. And I think that the fact that Pitt gave them one and he was able to take one back, I think that meant something to him, that he learned from his mistake. And I think that he is... I don't think he wants to lose again to Pat Narduzzi.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little more complicated than that. But what I sensed internally is that this was an offensive coach and a defensive coach. So, yesterday as Narduzzi is talking about Satterfield's offense. And of course, what do you think if you're Satterfield? Well, that's not true. That's not, you don't know shit. You don't know what he's talking about. He said something about not running, Cincinnati doesn't run Satterfield's offense doesn't run quarterback draw or something like that. And Satterfield was like, I've been running quarterback draw ever since I've been coaching. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. And some of this was from, if you're not a member of Bearcat Journal, I would do that. Keegan Nickerson has been going to the coaches show every week and providing summaries. And that was Satterfield responding to what Narduzzi had said about some of his play calling at the coaches show. I don't know. I just get a weird sense that they were conference rivals. Louisville and Pitt don't like each other.
Well, so I have the exact quote from Pat Narduzzi right here.
Okay.
The question was, you brought up Scott Satterfield. Based on what you've seen so far from Cincinnati, anything stylistically match up between what he does now and what he did at Louisville? And he said, yeah, very similar in year one of it, though I would say big outside zone team, but I'm not sure they like outside zone against us, but it is their favorite run play. They do a good job. They're going to go back and look at games from the last 3 years. They did it at Louisville, and they kind of copycat some stuff that you can just notice. You're like, oh, that's a play that we saw against Miami back in this day, and kind of go back and look and go, they did a good job copycatting. We'll do a great job.
Satterfield responded to that too. He said, I thought that was a funny comment. Everything about college football is copycat. We're going to use the plays that work. Now, do you see what I'm getting at? Well, I don't think these two men like each other all that much.
Anytime you can say that, anytime you have a UFC fight that's really good, you have a lot of good talk back and forth. And at the end of the day, they dap up and they talk about how much respect they have for one another. And I think it's setting up to be a really good matchup.
I do too. Satterfield also, via Keegan Nickerson. That's K-N-I-C-K-S-O. He said Satterfield also mentioned Narduzzi saying he doesn't run the QB draw, clarifying he's ran it since he started coaching and was confused.
Oh.
That doesn't sound like two guys that are chummy, Aaron.
Well, Again, I go back to what fighters do, and I think that these men
they don't have to sell box office here. Like they're not selling pay-per-views.
They're selling the CW, which is maybe a harder sell than pay-per-view.
Aaron, here's the thing. No, it's not. The CW is considered an over-the-air broadcast network, and it's completely fucking free. You don't have.
I wonder if it's going to be broadcast on the app, because the app is also free.
Yes, for free. The CW is like the CW is NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox. The CW.
It's PBS essentially.
It's PBS with the Gilmore Girls. Lots of Smallville.
Dawson's Creek.
Yeah. What else from Sat?
Let me pull my notes back up here. Obviously he touched on the familiarity he had with Pitt. We've clearly gone on about that. And just I don't know, he went on about how much he learned from the first matchup going into the second matchup, and then how obviously that turned into a win from a loss the time prior. And I wonder just how much he has learned from that win that will translate to this team, if anything. I mean, not necessarily translate, but I guess there's a difference between translate and transition.
Here's what translates. Pitt gets after the quarterback real fast. So Emory Jones is going to have to. I don't even know who played quarterback for Louisville last year in that win, but Emory Jones is going to have to. It was Cunningham. Okay.
Yeah.
Take the snap. Get the ball out. Take the snap. Find the hot. Know exactly where you're going to go. They're going to play press man. It's essentially this is playing Luke Fickell.
And Sat mentioned the similarities in that both quarterbacks can obviously run between Malik Cunningham and Emory Jones.
Kind of smaller and shiftier.
He mentioned he was slipperier. But he did say that Emory was a bigger body, and so he just runs different. He's maybe a little harder to take down than Malik Cunningham was. So that could potentially play into Cincinnati's favor. I don't know. We'll see.
Here's something to chew on that maybe I'll explore with Dave a little bit more tomorrow night on the BCJ podcast. Narduzzi is a Mark D'Antonio disciple, the same as Luke Fickell is a Mark D'Antonio disciple.
That was mentioned by Pat Narduzzi in his presser.
And guess what Louisville did to Pat Narduzzi's team last year, and what Louisville did to Luke Fickell's team in the bowl game, even though circumstances were what they were. But I wonder if this offense might be a bad match for Pat Narduzzi's defense, because it would kind of seem that way, wouldn't it?
Well, when asked about the Coach D'Antonio, he was asked, you were at Cincinnati for a few years, obviously with Coach D'Antonio. When you go back to those days, what was the biggest point of emphasis that you took from Cincinnati to help you along your coaching career? And he went on to say, Cincinnati is a great place. Cincinnati is kind of like Pittsburgh. I don't know what I took from there. It's been so long ago, and I'm so old. But when you look at it, Cincinnati is a tough team. That's what I take from it. Cincinnati is tough. They're physical. They've got good football players. They'll be hungry coming in here. That's what I take. I just know that DNA is very similar to a Pittsburgh kid. It'll be a hell of a game with them coming in here. And then he said, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Clearly,
look, there are similarities between the cities. They hate each other.
They do hate each other.
They're both very common in kind of location and style and like who the people are. Mm-hmm. We don't say yins ever. It's just not part of the vernacular here. We know what vernacular means.
That was good.
Thanks. But like I get it. It's there are similarities. And the two cities do very, very much dislike each other.
That's
the Pirates, the Steelers, Like even like at least with Cleveland, like the Pirates and the Guardians aren't. Not that the Pirates compete for anything, but they're not in the same space. The Reds and the Pirates play 16, 19, whatever.
Also, not in the same space. The Pirates are always terrible. Yeah. Always terrible.
There's some really good young players. They just,
until they go somewhere else. Always terrible.
But the cities hate each other. They're not friendly. It's not a we pull for you. Like it's not. Nobody's chanting SEC, AFC North. Like they're not chanting that.
No.
People in Cincinnati want to see people in Pittsburgh fail, and people in Pittsburgh want to see people in Cincinnati fail.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emory Jones?
Well, I guess this kind of goes in hand with what Sat was saying as far as that they need him to be able to get rid of the ball quickly because this defense is going to come at him. And I think the thing that Emory said that first off was probably the most intelligent thing that he could have said in this type of a response. And also just as a huge hat tip to the defense. He said that he's been doing this since the opener of camp. He has been having to get rid of the ball quickly because this Cincinnati defense has been coming over and over and over. So I don't know that I guess he's as ready as he's going to be, right? Like you can't be more ready for a team that's going to come at you defensively, especially with blitzing and exotic looks and rushing than.
Well, make no mistake. Not much of what Pitt does is exotic. It's Luke. They just come after you. It's Freeman.
But
they just
even if they decide to throw some exotic looks this time around, because the last time Sat played them, they lost. Call it what you will.
You just don't do exotic looks at them. What I'm saying is their style is aggressive. We're going to punch you in the mouth. Like it's Luke. What we noticed, like what we saw over the past 6 years, there's not a lot of disguise to it. So you better be ready for it because we do what we do and we're really good at it. Like Sat mentioned, they were second in the nation in sacks behind Louisville last year. Those were 1-2 in sacks. Like they get to your quarterback.
I think that you're going to see both defenses really dial it up. And if tackle is something that is going to be an Achilles heel for this offense, then they're going to have to find a way to compensate. And one of the things going back to Sat that he mentioned that I thought it was crazy. Again, I'm not used to a coach talking this freely about the offense, I guess. I didn't expect him to call out the tight ends as hard as he did in regards to just not blocking, and that they really need to clean up their blocking because we are going to need them to actually block this week. And so we need them to block better.
Aaron, what happened? We saw Baruch Falk.
I understand that
a decent amount of snaps with the ones. No. I'm talking about like as the game went on, he was so displeased that he had Baruch Falk, who's a blocker. Like he's one of those like we added an offensive lineman essentially, and they were putting him at H-back and they were putting him like just offset of the tackles. They were moving him a little bit. That's a very real note to they were not happy with what Shaman and Peyton Singletary did in the blocking game, and that they will play a walk-on that's just looking to decapitate you if those guys aren't willing to block.
Well, in any case, I don't know. I thought that was about as good an answer as Emory could have given in that situation.
Yeah.
And just again, kind of just eye-opening with what Satterfield says anytime. Just at this point, I guess maybe we should not be surprised that he is so honest, and he really is just a golly, shucks.
Yeah, down North Carolina boy.
I'm gonna give it to you. If you want an answer, I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah,
but be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, which is my favorite. That's my favorite thing. I asked you the question because I want the answer. I didn't ask you the question because I wanted that was where the "do you live under a rock" thing came from. Saturday, there was a lot of coach speak in that answer. One game at a time, 1 week schedule, Like that's not what we norm. Now I get that when you get post game, coaches are going to give you a little bit more coach speak. But I love that you ask him a question, he will answer it.
Dante, I wasn't able to fully watch. I was in the process of I baked for the first time tonight, baking brownies for a birthday. It was Rachel's birthday. Rachel, they turned out perfect. Crispy.
Did you cook on Blackstone?
No, fuck no. I said baking.
I know. You said that's the only way I know how to cook. Blackstone.
I made brownies.
You probably could make brownies on the Blackstone, actually, though.
You probably could. I'm not even. Nope. Anyway. But what did Dante say that stood out to you?
Nothing that Dante doesn't say. I also had a situation around the press conference, but it was typical Dante. I love Cincinnati. I always have wanted to be in Cincinnati. People are asking him still the same questions. He did say he got double teamed, just relentlessly.
Yeah.
And that was expected. That was something he expected going forward, but that he was okay with it. And somebody asked him if the stats matter. And he said, look, part of playing defense is if everybody's going to pay attention to me and they're going to do all this to stop me, then everybody else
gets to eat.
Is going to have their chance. And then, what happens? Everybody else starts getting their chance. Then they go, oh, now we got to worry about everybody else. And then I'm going to get the adjustment to the adjustment to the sports.
Also against
Yay,
EKU.
Sports.
Against EKU, you're not going to really try and show how you're going to free him up with anything else.
Right. And they still talked about, oh my God, he's a monster of a human being.
He is that.
Yeah. We also had Brad Glenn. We had Braden Smith and Antoine Peak Jr. Go watch Keegan talk to Glenn and Smith. I had the chance to talk to Antoine Peak Jr. Aaron, did you know?
Go on.
He is now a scholarship player. He was awarded a scholarship after Camp Higher Ground when they got back to campus. He was the special teams. Internally, he was the special teams player of the week. And he is now a scholarship player. And what an awesome story for the son of a Bearcat legend to work. He's a walk-on. It usually takes a long time for walk-ons to get scholarships. Like redshirt, be a scout team player for 2 years. Then maybe you start to see some action on special teams in year 3. And then maybe by year 4, you're on scholarship. Antoine Peak Jr., 1 year.
Yeah, he's running with the twos.
Yeah. And he's one of their better special teams players.
He's worked his ass off. He's running with the twos. There's not anybody on this team. Any other walk-on has not done what he has done at this point.
James Camden's pretty close. He's another one that's right up there. I'll be talking to him soon.
Until you're running with the twos, he's not quite where. And if you're putting that up with, also coupling that with the special teams player of the week, which I don't know how you won that compared to a guy who put 9 through, but well done.
Because of his coverage. Him and Camden were both relentless in coverage. So really good interview. So go check that out. All right, it's going to wrap it up. We'll see you at BCJ Pod and another nightcap tomorrow. Thanks to Galactic Fried Chicken. We'll see you soon right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.